diplomatic relations between Indonesia and Ukraine were established on June 2nd, 1992. However, our bilateral relations can be traced long before that. In 1946, just after Indonesia declaration of independence from Dutch colonial rule on August 17, 1945, the so-called Indonesia question was raised for the first time at the United Nations by Jacob Malik, a Ukrainian diplomat. Indonesia always remember Malik's initiative to internationalize the issue of Indonesian freedom. Our relations is friendly and effective. In the 25 years since the establishment of diplomatic ties, our two countries have witnessed stable development of cooperation. President Poroshenko had an official visit to Indonesia from 5th to 7th of August. The President Poroshenko reiterated his positive stance towards cooperation with Indonesia. A bilateral meeting with President Jokowi to discuss majorly the efforts to enhance economic, trade, and investment cooperations. During that visit, President Poroshenko emphasized that Indonesia is an important partner in Southeast Asia. President Poroshenko expressed a hope that Indonesia investors can use Ukraine as a platform to provide access to the European market. In his reply, President Jokowi invites Ukrainian investors to invest in Indonesia as the largest country in Southeast Asia, as well as the largest archipelago in the world. Both leaders reaffirm a commitment to the fundamental principles of international law, respect of sovereignty, and territorial integrity of states. Our two presidents have also agreed to restart Joint Economic Commission (GEC) meeting 2017 in Kiev. So at the beginning 2017, the President Poroshenko reiterated his positive stance towards cooperation with Indonesia as a reliable partner of Ukraine during the annual New Year's meeting with the ambassadors for foreign states accredited in Ukraine. Our two countries recorded a total trade value of $526.9 million in 2015, with Indonesia's export reaching around $328.4 million. For Indonesia, Ukraine is its second largest trading partner in Central Eastern Europe. Meanwhile, Ukrainian imports to Indonesia include wheat, dairy products, and flat iron steel. I think Indonesian investors show interest in three sectors in Ukraine, which are pharmaceutical products, consumer goods, and agriculture. So conversely, we are also interested to have Ukrainian investors in the power plant turbine construction and agriculture in Indonesia, particularly in wheat and cocoa plantations. Ukraine is one of the biggest wheat producers in the world and ships more than 60%. 17, the President Poroshenko reiterated his positive stance export to Indonesia, while more than 60% of Indonesia export to Ukraine is palm oil. Indonesian investors are interested in direct investment and in the privatization in Ukraine in the field of engineering and construction work, especially infrastructure and shipbuilding industry. Indonesian and Ukrainian have historically good social and cultural ties. In this sense, in cooperation with the Taras Shevchenko National University of Kiev, we have established the Indonesian Language and Literature program in 2012, and the Center for Indonesian Language and Literature since 2000, where was established. 40 students have been studying the specialty Indonesian language and literature. We also support educational partnership between prominent Indonesian universities and prominent universities in Ukraine, such as Tolkom University with Taras Shevchenko National University on May 17, 2016. By having this cooperation, it is expected to open up wide opportunities for educational cooperation between two countries, such as staff and student mobility, as well as joint research. Partnership between higher education institutions is promoted under the Grants with Dharma Siswa Indonesian Scholarship Program. This scholarship is a one-year non-degree scholarships program to study Indonesian language, arts, music, crafts, and particular subject in 54 selected Indonesian higher education institutions in different cities of Indonesia. So 101 Ukrainian students have applied for and studied Dharma Siswa program since 2013 and become the Friends of Indonesia. So we hope that the people-to-people contacts can strengthen so the positive outlooks on Indonesia can be sustained in the long run and contribute to enhancing overall bilateral ties. I think our two countries share a strong sense of religiosity. As I can see in Ukraine, the believers and the church has a strong bond and relations, as you in Ukraine put in the preamble of Constitution of Ukraine that Ukrainian people realizing their responsibility in the eyes of God before their conscience, past, present, and future generations. What we have in common in diversity, multi-language, multi-religious, and multicultural country with almost 130 nationalities living in Ukraine, of society, and the production of the population. Indonesian percent of the religious communities registered in Ukraine. In Indonesia, there are 250 million people that speak in 250 native languages. Our two countries put importance to the family as an essential component in the life of society and the production of the population. Indonesian, as Ukrainian, also put importance on family values. Fourth, Indonesia and Ukraine have similar handicraft tradition. For example, Ukraine's indigenous art of Isanskar is very similar to the Indonesian batik technique. Last but not least, we share the value of community spirit. For example, I see that in the village, Ukrainians still keep the tradition of helping each other with the harvest. In Indonesia, we have gotong royong as traditional spirit of mutual help among members of community. The people cannot live in solitary existence. They need each other, particularly family members and relatives. With a population of 45 million, Ukraine has favorable location. I think the Ukrainian tourism industry has a great deal of potential, both inbound and outbound. Ukraine has a long and rich history, a vivid culture, and four-season climate like its European neighbors. Indonesian tourists love to have winter travel, such as in Carpathian mountains, shopping tour, medical tourism, and religious sites such as Sofia Cathedral or the Kiev-Pecheska Lavra Monastery. In the opposite direction, Ukrainian tourists are sun and sea seekers, which are abundant in tropical Indonesia. Indonesia is well known to Ukrainians as an exotic and paradise travel destination, such as Bali, Lombok, and Borobudur in Central Java. More than 10,000 Ukrainian citizens visit Indonesia each year. We do our best to attract Ukrainian tourists come to Indonesia. We actively participate in international travel and tourism shows such as UATV and UATM in Kiev. and collaborate with the Ukrainian tour operators or travel agents. So this year, we also introduced visa-free regime for traveling up to 30 days for citizens of 196 countries, including Ukraine. Every weekend, my family and I often go outside to explore the city. As you know, that Ukraine is commonly known for the large parks and historical monuments, and also many restaurants and cafes to visit. I like the borscht soup. Yeah, this is similar with the Indonesian cuisine, like chicken soups in Indonesia. Chicken kiev also, I like it very much. So my children also like the chicken kiev. Maybe we can make a joint to like food cultural festivals. So we can hold here, or maybe we can in Indonesia. So both people which can familiars with their fried rice, nasi gorengs, is very well known in Indonesia, and also mie gorengs, fried noodles. Grand Hyatt Hotel in we call the Asian Grill Restaurant. There's Indonesian chef there. There are 3 cuisines in menu. I believe that Ukraine provides wonderful opportunities for foreigners. There are various activities to do and festivals to attend. It is an underrated country that deserves more attention by the public.